Welcome back to the Frame Solution podcast. I hope you're well. In this episode, I'm going to share with you one thing that I did that changed my career. I say one thing because this one thing helped me overcome a mindset that was crippling. Without further ado, let's get right into this episode. So at the start of my career, as I've shared before on this podcast, if you haven't caught the audio episodes, they are linked in the description. But at the start of my career, I was a very confident person. I believed in my capabilities. I believed in what I was good at. I believed in what I brought to the table. But as my career went on, I was faced with this big monster called imposter syndrome. If you've heard about imposter syndrome, you know it's when you feel like you're fraud. You feel you don't deserve the accomplishments that you've achieved. You feel that everything that you've achieved in your career has been by chance or luck. Many times you feel you don't deserve to be in those rooms you're in. You feel unqualified to even say you're a doctor. I have a PhD, so I'm a doctor. You feel unqualified to proclaim the things that you're good at. But deep down, you know you're good at these things. It might be you've applied for a job, but when it gets to an interview, you cannot articulate your value because you feel you don't have what it takes to get that job. It might be you compensate for this imposter syndrome by working extraordinarily hard to make sure that you appear as a person who knows what they're doing. It might be you compensate for this imposter syndrome by wanting to be very perfect in everything that you do, suffering from that perfectionism mentality. It might be you find yourself procrastinating because you feel you still have to do something, but you have to do it when everything else is in order. That's how I used to be. I used to find myself procrastinating, self-sabotaging, being a perfectionist, and even not taking action because I'm scared. It got worse when I became a PhD student because as a PhD student, you find yourself failing many of the experiments you do as a PhD student. If you're like me, your case might be different. You'll find that you are failing. Your experiments might not be going as planned. You might find yourself lagging in your literature review, finding it hard to learn new concepts that you've not worked on, and also finding it hard to assimilate in that research group that you're in. Sometimes you might find you are not coping well when it comes to your PhD. The one mindset shift I had to adopt was the mindset shift of keeping my accomplishments close to my heart. Close to my heart in a sense that I created myself a folder on my computer where I would keep every good thing that was said to me by anyone, be it a friend, be it a colleague, be it my supervisor, be it my previous employers, be it my previous colleagues, be it anyone who ever said anything good. Even if it was just verbal, I would go and write it down. If someone said, "Well done, Faith, that was a beautiful input that you put in that project," I'll go and write it. Then I quote the person who has said. If it's Mary, I'll write Mary. Then I would put the date that was said. I had that folder of screenshots, a folder of an Excel sheet showing the things that people had complimented me in. And each time I got any imposter syndrome coming in, I would go and open this folder and look at all those things that I had accomplished. Be it winning a scholarship, be it a grant that I achieved, all that information was put close to where I could find it. That way, when imposter syndrome would come in, I would have proof to counter that imposter syndrome. I share this because you're going to need it in your career. When you're advancing your career, you're going to find things that are going to be out of your comfort zone. That's growth. If you want to advance, you have to stretch yourself out of your comfort zone. And when you're faced with these issues, how do you deal with them? You deal with them by having proof to counter the fears, to counter the mindsets. And that proof, you can create it now. So today, I would like to challenge you to wake up. Get yourself your computer, create a specific folder, and start creating this library of all the accomplishments that you've achieved, of all the praises you've received, of all the scholarships you've won. Anything that says you're good, put it in that folder. And when imposter syndrome clicks in, you'll have something to counter that imposter syndrome with. If you've enjoyed this episode, it's short and sweet. Let me know in the comments if you plan to implement this. And if you want one-to-one career guidance to help you advance your career, get clear on your career goals, there's always a link in the description. You can get me and we can chat about your career and how I can help you. Otherwise, if you're not following me on Instagram, please follow. The name is The Frame Solutions. If you have any questions, just leave them down below and I'll be sure to help you. I hope this episode helps you counter imposter syndrome. Keep yourself that folder and you'll need it when that time comes, because I definitely know imposter syndrome will creep in at some point. Have yourself a wonderful day and catch you in the next episode. Bye. I hope you've learned something from this episode, and if you have, please rate and review wherever you listen to your podcast. Subscribe to this podcast. Share it with your family, friends, and those that you think are interested in career development. Also, follow me on the socials, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. The username is The Frame Solutions. I can't wait to speak to you in the next episode. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.